everybody, my name is Alex. This is my Yamaha XVS1100 and what we're gonna do today is to replace a starter clutch which I apparently broke last time I tried to fix it. Well, the first thing you'll have to do is to take off the side stand, the shift lever and the foot stand, sorry. For this I use 40mm socket. It's not the right way to do that, obviously. Just make sure your motorcycle is secured and there's no chance for it to fall off on you. As you can see, I've taken off mostly the left side, the side stand, the footrest and the shift lever, which is connected here to this shaft. The clutch is already taken off. Okay, something is not right with the spring. Now it's good. Yeah, so all the cables are disconnected. And before we take off the alternator cover, we need to make sure that the rear cylinder is at the top dead center. For that, we'll have to open up this hole, this cover, take off this cover and this cover. Here you will be able to follow the position of the flywheel, while through this hole you'll rotate the engine clockwise. At the same time, you need to be sure that the top, the rear cylinder is on the top dead center by making sure that the timing mark aligns to a mark here at the top. For aligning the timing mark on the camshaft sprocket to a mark here on the top of the cylinder head, we have first to remove this cover. For that we use a 5mm Allen key. Just nice and slow. Okay, so let's remove it. And here you see a camshaft sprocket and the mark, which has to be aligned on the mark here. You see a little bit dimp here, but this should be aligned, while the flywheel should show you a letter T through this hole. To open the holes, you need to use either a huge screwdriver, but really carefully, or, which is better I think, use a coin. I'm in Europe, so you can use a €2 coin. I don't know which size dollar is, to be honest, sorry for that. As you can see, I have a bit of experience with that, see? So this is screwed up, but don't worry, I got a new one. Be careful not to over torque that thing. So as you can see, both caps have the O-rings, which I think you need to lubricate with some lithium soap grease when you put it back, or even better, if you have a new one, just put a new O-ring. So now we're gonna remove the alternator cover. So hopefully you drained your oil, and well, which I did, and we will have to remove this alternator cover. For that we use a 5mm Allen key, and you see all these bolts around it and 3 inside. When you remove all these bolts, it's a pain in the ass to put them back in the same order as they was if you don't record the positions of them. So for that I use the good old trick of the cardboard with holes and a shape that resembles the part itself. In this case, of course, this is the alternator cover. I'm gonna be removing these bolts and put them in the holes that correspond to the hole on the part. And when I install the part back, I will just take out the bolt from the corresponding hole and put it back to a matching hole on the part. Okay, so now we are gonna put a rear cylinder to its top dead center, TDC. For that, we're gonna use this hole to look for a T mark appearing here, just and is aligned on this mark here on the top. At the same time, we're gonna make sure that the timing mark is aligned. A timing mark on the cam chain sprocket is aligned to a timing mark here on the top timing mark on a cylinder head. We're gonna rotate the engine using a long socket like this. It's 22 millimeters, I believe, 22 millimeters socket. And we're gonna rotate it with a ratchet. Always rotate the engine clockwise. That's what they say in manuals and on the internet. However, I don't really understand why. So I passed the high mark just now, and there was a T mark. It's here, so it passed the mark here on the top of the hole, and as you can see, the cam chain sprocket mark is aligned to the bottom. So what we're gonna achieve now is to rotate the engine 360 degrees more, and it's gonna appear here while the T mark on the flywheel is aligned to a mark on this hole. As you can see, the cam chain sprocket mark is aligned to a mark on the cylinder head here, and I don't know if you can see here, but the T mark on the flywheel is aligned, well, almost aligned. I'm gonna rotate it a bit more, but I think it's good enough. Is aligned to a hole here, this one. So I removed the alternator cover, and what happens, and what happened the last time actually, you see this shaft which goes through here, which is the gear that is moved by a starter here, and the shaft goes into the crankcase, and when a starter turns, this gear, the idler gear I think it's called, maybe not, is turning the engine, causing it to start. What happens then I will tell you afterwards, but what happened last time is that the shaft comes off together with the alternator cover. See, it goes here as well, so it's going into the crankcase and to the alternator cover, and is serving as an axle for this gear. So when this comes off, as you can see, this gear falls down and doesn't really come back. So what I did last time, I did remove the starter, and then I was able to remove the gear and align it with the alternator cover gear and put the shaft back. And this is the only way I could do that. So in the kit that I'm gonna install today, there is a better solution for that. The shaft is integrated with the gear, and the shaft is rolling in ball bearings. Maybe it's not ball bearings, probably it's needle bearings, which are installed in this opening and the opening in the crankcase. So the Important thing to note is that here is the shift lever, on which there should be a shim, which is now here. It's important to not to lose that thing. And what I did yesterday, I actually lost it, so it fell off and I didn't know where it goes, and I couldn't find it. I was dumb enough to not find it in manuals, either in a Clymer manual or in the diagrams on Partzilla or whatever on the Yamaha catalog, part catalog. That cost me a starter clutch. So what I did, this shim actually is the same diameter as the inner diameter of the shim is the outer diameter of this starter clutch. Idle gear, see, the diameter just exactly the same. So I figured out that this was the only place where it could go, and I just put the shim on top of that, like so. When I put everything together, the engine wouldn't turn, and I didn't check that, and I started to turn it, basically causing the starter clutch to damage. This is why I'm doing this repair again. Instead of the shaft that goes here and serves as an axle for the idle gear, the shim should go here on top, and that's it. This is how it should go. Make sure you do it right, and when you put everything together, put the shim on the shift lever shaft, not on the starter gear shaft. Another thing to bear in mind, and this is really important, you don't want to lose these dowels here and here, otherwise the crankcase will not be aligned properly with the alternator cover, which will cause leaks, and basically it's not really well to install the part in the way it wasn't supposed to be installed. So make sure that these dowels are not get lost, and you put them back before you put the alternator cover back. So the rear cylinder is at its top dead center, and what I'm gonna do now, before I remove the flywheel, I'm gonna put some marks on this chain, the flywheel itself. Well, first of all, I'm gonna put some wire or an aluminum line here to make sure that I know where the top dead center is, because I don't have the alternator cover to look through, and align it to the mark on the top. So it's important not to move and not to rotate the engine when you set it to adopt the center on the rear cylinder correctly. For removing the flywheel, I got myself this tool set, which is called a universal puller. I don't know, probably it's used for pulling some car wheel components. But we'll see if the bolts that I have here, they're the ones that fit in the holes here. If they're not, we're gonna do a little trip to a store. So as you can see, I removed the starter assembly and pull the idle gear in place and put the shaft in, obviously. Clymer's manual, they tell you to hold the rotor with a sheave holder. It's a special tool from Yamaha, but I don't have one. I have this. This is a self-made tool which does the same job as the sheave holder, but I don't know if that will work really well, and despite the fact that it's quite effective, I have my arm damaged a bit, so I don't want to put a lot of pressure on my right arm. And there is a hint that I learned on the internet that you can put a shim between those two gears, and basically lock them and turn off the flywheel nut. In the Yamaha bulletin they also say to put a punch inside this hole, which goes through the two of timing gears. This is a scissor type gear. I don't know if it goes through, because what I see in the Yamaha bulletin, let me try to find it, looks a bit different. So I will try to turn the engine here. I found it. So it looks a bit different on new gear has a dowel. I'm not sure what it means, but you can see, as you can see on a picture, the punch is quite deep inside, unlike this. It says that if you cannot put the punch in, you need to turn the engine, make it 2 turns. I'll try doing that until I succeed, or it will just stay like that. Well, now the cam chain sprocket timing mark is aligned with the punch, not a punch, but a mark on a cylinder head on the rear cylinder. The rotor is at the top, not the top dead center, but the rotor is on a letter T, and I put a punch, which is not really a punch, but my Allen key driver, 5mm one, into the hole. Okay, so I think we're good to go. So I didn't put that on the record, but I just loosened the flywheel nut, basically the one that sits on the crankshaft, by not using the sheave holder, but using aluminum plate like this. This one was 2-layer, it wasn't strong enough, so basically what I did, I put that thing inside. See, it's still there. I don't want to remove that. I will just remove the flywheel and it will come. It's on the marks on timing are on place. The T is aligned to my wire, and yeah, off we go. I'm gonna install a puller now, and I'll try to pull that thing off.